G'day everyone, it's John here from Wheels Magazine, and today we're getting our first glimpse at what Ferrari is distinctly not calling an SUV. It's the Purosangue. It's fitted with a 6.5 litre, 65-degree V12 engine producing 533 kilowatts, and unfortunately I'm not going to get to drive it today, but you can come with me and we're going to check it out, talk about the design and what's going on inside. Of course, let me know your thoughts about the Purosangue, this $728,000 not an SUV, all-wheel drive, lifted four-door sports car from Ferrari down below, and let's get on with it. First up, the design of the Purosangue. This thing is not your typical SUV. It doesn't look like an Urus. It's got a real cab rearward design that emphasizes the long bonnet that houses that V12 engine underneath, which we'll talk about in just a second. You've also got these really clean, tidy details up front. It's definitely an evolution of the design of the Roma, and this front end kind of looks like an angry shark, like the nose of a great white shark coming towards you with the mouth ajar there. Looks really hot. It also conjures up a little bit of 365 GTB4 in my opinion, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on the design of the Purosangue below, whether you think it's successful, because I certainly do after seeing it in the flesh. This is the thing that makes the Purosangue really stand out in this class. The 6.5 litre V12. It's a development from the engine in the 812 Competizione, but it's been tuned with torque in mind, mid-range punch, and without all of that top-end scream of that car. That being said, it's still going to sound great, I reckon. It's got 533 kilowatts of power at 7,250 RPM, and the engine will continue revving to the 8,250 RPM redline. That's pretty special. This car is also four-wheel drive, but it is an interesting development of the GTC4 Luso's four-wheel drive system. That being, it's all-wheel drive below 200 k's an hour and only in the first 4 gears. So it's not something like the system you'd see in a Lamborghini Urus or an Aston Martin DBX. It is very much Ferrari's own system. And yeah, I've got to say, the more I look at this engine bay, the more I just want to start this thing up and drive it. But that's not on the cards for today, so you have to wait for our full international launch drive coming along, hopefully very soon. Now let's jump inside. Unfortunately, there's no battery charge in this car, so I haven't been able to experiment with any of the technology or any of the aircon controls or even adjust this car to my driving position, though to be fair, it's not too far off. But let's have a quick overview of what's in here. It is a very different design to your average car, as you'd expect from Ferrari. You've got this sort of double hump design in here that is a carry-on from the 812. You also have no central touchscreen infotainment system. That's all controlled through the driver's display and the display that's in front of the passenger to give them something to do on a long road trip, which I guess is a really nice idea for this car, especially given its pitch as a long-distance grand tourer for the whole family. Now the steering wheel is gorgeous, it's the right shape, it's got a flat bottom, carbon fiber, there's carbon fiber everywhere in this car. The specification in this particular example is pretty toned down, but with Ferrari's tailor-made program and personalization, you can really adjust the Purosangue to exactly how you want to have it, with carbon fiber, metal, all different colors of leather, and of course different paint colors outside. What else can I tell you? Well, the material quality is all really, really nice, as you'd expect, and the seats as well are super supportive. They're not some fat American style comfy cushion seat. Yes, they're a little bit more spacious than something in Ferrari's most aggressive sports cars, but they're still very generously bolstered, nice and firm, and I'm sure they're going to be very supportive on a long drive and also keep you well held in the corners. Next up, these stunning doors, welcome doors that make ingress incredibly easy. And you can open the back door by itself without having to open the front door. A nice touch, which obviously Ferrari's thought about, because having to open the front door, then the back door like you would on a space cab ute is not sexy. This is much sexier than having to do that. And then it's really easy to get into the back seat. It's actually got a nice wide opening. You've also got frameless windows on these doors that just help keep that seamless sports car aesthetic. And jumping in here, straight away, it feels seriously stunning. If I was the offspring of a Ferrari owner, I would be totally happy to sit in the back seat of this thing for long periods of time. I've got heaps of space at 188 centimeters tall, heaps of legroom, and a decent amount of headroom, though if I lean all the way back, my head does touch the ceiling, but not a big deal. The material quality is pretty high back here. It's only a 4-seater with this infotainment kind of action going on here, this center console for you, but I think that's okay. 4 people at a max is all you need in a Ferrari. And you've even got your own adjustment for the backrests of these seats and for the under thigh support. Again, like the front seat, there's no charge in this car, so I can't play around with all the functions, but I can definitely say that these seats that are individual bucket seats are going to be super supportive on a long journey. That's a brief look at the Ferrari Purosangue. It's only going to account for 20% of Ferrari sales, and that's because it's strictly limited. Ferrari doesn't want their sales to be overrun by SUVs. And I guess that's a noble cause, although of course this isn't an SUV. And on that note, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Purosangue, what you'd call it, whether you think you should call it an SUV or whether it truly is a 4-door sports car like Ferrari says. But we'll withhold judgment until we've tried this car properly on road and hopefully on the track in the future at Fiorano, the proving ground in Maranello. So stay tuned for that. Let me know your thoughts down below and hit subscribe to Wheels Magazine's YouTube channel and all our social channels if you want to see more content like this.